critical about like.
We're back live.
I think we're all critical. All right.
Sorry about that, people. We had a technical difficulty, but we're back. And the question tonight is the perception of yourself what people really see? And we were low key having a discussion on that. Hopefully, D Nick will get back in the building.
That's wine. Yeah. That's wine. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm gonna wait on D Nick, but
I gave you a soldier too, right?
huh?
I gave you a soldier, a French soldier, a bottle in a box.
No, that's the only thing you gave me.
That's wine.
How do you open this?
But yeah,
Yeah, pull that.
well,
towel.
you guys realize we're live right now, right?
No, I didn't.
Yeah. Okay. So, yeah.
Oh shit. Mexican
Anyways,
shit.
No,
D Nick
man.
needs the link again.
That's man shit. All right, we're live.
Wow. Yeah, we're live. This ain't the show for the jokey jokes.
I'm sorry.
No, you're good. You're good. Yeah. Shout out D Nick. I just put the link back out. And if you could, when you jump back in, because the topic is the perception of yourself, what people really had. You had started to speak on that, and now I got to get you. Yeah, you there, right? You can hear everything. We can hear you.
Yes, sir.
All
Yes,
right,
sir.
we in the building. All right. Now
You got a cork?
put this. There we go. So,
Hell no.
if you don't mind recapping what you said earlier about it, I mean, if you don't mind, because we had
No, I got you.
technical difficulty
I
and
was,
shit.
no, I was real long story less long. I was like a really good partner of mine was having a moment, and we were just basically kind of having like almost like an unofficial counseling session outside, and and then people were saying wild shit because rappers are they trash sometimes, so
Right.
like they're people were coming and asking, it just wasn't the time.
Right.
And then they, and one was directed towards me. I'll talk about my situation because it's on that individual to talk about if he so chooses to talk about
Right.
what he was going through. And I was trying to shoo someone away, like, not right now, not right now. And he was trying to, this particular rapper, I don't even remember the brother's name, and he was trying to ask me about getting on a Misfit show that is coming up, next month. And when I'm showing him, because it's not the right time, he says some really, slick shit that offended me a little bit. Not a little bit. It was a little bit. He was just like, man, oh, I see how it is. Misfits only look out for other misfits. You don't never put nobody else from the city on and all of this type of stuff, and just walked away. And we just kind of had a laughing moment. It broke the tension because me and that artist got to share a laugh. It was like, see how it go. You know what I'm saying? And it
Yeah.
was actually on this very topic, about being, just being tired and how people perceive you,
Right.
and how people just perceive you. And I was just like, and I was kind of, it smacked me because I was like, man, that's how people see me and my bandmates. Like, we just some selfish motherfuckers. I ain't even got shit to put nobody on to.
Right.
Like, so on the other end, they see in me as something more than what the hell I am. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? And, it's all that. Like, so nah, man, a lot of people, I'm not how everybody sees me. You know what I'm saying? Maybe some people, maybe at points in my life I am how some people see me, but that's not always the totality of my being and my spirit. But I get it. I get it. I know what business I'm in. You know what I'm
Right.
saying?
But
You
that's
know.
from a business standpoint. That's from like an artist standpoint, but like in just like everyday life type of shit. You know what I'm
People,
saying?
but people can't. People like.
No, I'm saying like as a person, how they may perceive themselves. Do they think that's how other people perceive them?
Yes, because even if it's from an artist standpoint, people don't know the difference. Some people can't separate the fantasy versus the reality.
Right.
They don't know. They have no idea. You know what I'm saying? No one like, cause the perception, I know I got a gang of homegirls that like got like some really sexy OnlyFans type pages, but you know, they got kids. They ain't the sexy OnlyFans chick when they with their kids, raising their kids or at a PTA meeting. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? But if you one of her OnlyFans and you see her at the grocery store, you can't. Your perception is, oh, that's the chick that did. Like, cause some people can't, you know, and we gotta like us as artists, we gotta wear that, and that's a wear and tear on our spirit.
Right.
That wear and tears on our spirit. Like, you know, like, and because people can't separate, and sometimes we can't separate the fantasy from reality.
Right.
So no, like, you know, real, it's real deal. Like I'm a whole ass counselor, but some people would take it a certain way. Is like, man, you a counselor, you gotta always extend grace and always extend compassion. And you
Right.
know, I'm not no perfect person. Sometimes I might want to, it might be in me to be obnoxious at some
Right.
points. But you know, I have to hold to what I mean to other people and what I, you know, mean to my profession as an artist, as a counselor, you know what I'm saying, as you know, whatever, even when I get on and pod and do interviews, I can't say what organization I work for because they're gonna be like, oh, you know what I'm saying? I have people in my organization that are always combing through my catalog to see if I'm misrepresenting what they think a counselor could be or should be.
Right.
I have other counselors that know my identity as a microphone misfit and are jealous.
Do you think
Like
it's
I can't run from shit.
do you think
You know
it's
what
do
I'm
you think
saying?
it's because to go back to what Chris was saying about being it's this different person, you know, everywhere and everything. Do you think that's healthy? Like from a mental standpoint, to constantly be switching up and constantly being this person and that person, every different room you fucking walk in?
Um, if you don't have a good grip on the context and you know, generally to answer your question, no. And it's just tricky to have to you have to practice it being healthy, but man, that shit's hard, dude.
Right.
That shit's fucking really, really hard, you know.
I
And
I
people
get a
take
lot of
that
shit.
out.
I get a lot of shit from my kids in the house, but about how I am things and how I say things, but I don't
Hmm.
necessarily see it that way because I really try to stay true to myself all the time. And a lot of times things come out of my mouth. It's not meant to be harsh, but people take it as being harsh. But I've taken it as me being assertive when I say things. And but perception, like it is a motherfucker, and it is something. I mean, people should be aware of. I mean, how they perceive themselves and how other people perceive them.
Can I tell a story real quick?
Go ahead.
A friend of mine from hip hop community he's also a personal friend of mine, but he was working at one of the car share ride companies in the office, and he likes vintage things, and he got a jacket that looked like it was a German war type jacket, but it didn't have none of the insignias or anything. It had I think it was like 2 bolts or something. It had some bolts. But
Lightning bolts.
Yeah.
Oh, that's German.
But he wore that to work, and they walked him out. They walked him out. So perception. I know, dude, he's not a racist. He's a person of color. She just decided to wear this shit to work, and it was perception of what those people.
No, that's not perception.
Yeah, it was the job's perception, the corporate perception. Keep your mouth shut and act right. That's the same reason why corporations drop people that are sponsored by them or people that they're sponsoring. As soon as the motherfuckers act a certain way or say something crazy, You could be a newscaster. You could be wherever it is and say one crazy thing. You're getting walked out, bro, with a little box with all your medals in it. Like, they don't give a shit. Like, perception is a big thing right now.
Oh no, they give a shit. That's why they walk them out. They
that's why
give a
you
shit
walk you
about
out.
that.
Yeah,
They
But
give
yeah,
a
that's what I'm saying. They don't give a shit because they will walk you out. Like, whatever. It goes both
But that's
ways.
giving a shit though. They give a shit about that. They don't give a shit about why you wearing it. They give a shit about their agenda.
Yeah.
Right. There's a difference.
But they will walk you out.
And
So
it's
I don't know. I
their
think,
company, so they can do what the fuck they want because it's their company. You in their house.
but I think like just when we're talking also this perception of the question that we're asking, it also spills into what we said earlier as far as the first thing that I said when the show started was be yourself and not give a fuck what other people's perception is. But I think there's walls up against that, right? Like be yourself, but you can't walk around wearing a MAGA fucking hat and yelling some crazy racial shit because there's perception. Like,
But if that's their self,
yeah,
then
you can be,
if that's
you
their
can act
self,
yourself,
then
but within community norms, so societal norms. I don't know, like, where's the cutoff, bro? It's like be yourself and not give a fuck and do your thing.
Nobody said not give a fuck.
No, be yourself. Sometimes it's about be your. That's why there's rock stars. That's why we follow and idolize people. Follow and idolize rock stars because they chose to live their life not giving a fuck what anybody's perception was.
That's perception. You,
And
you
that's what we're
perceive.
talking about
A lot
today.
of those guys are not. They're fucking family guys. They're at fucking home being whatever. When they go out on tour, they're fucking wild. They're crazy. They come home. They sit down. They shut the fuck up. That's
Man,
Is our options
that's
of
they're
color.
selling
Don't
a
have-
fantasy. So that goes back to the original thing. They're selling a fantasy.
Right.
They're selling a fantasy, and we as consumers believe the fantasy, and we think X, Y, and Z. But they have like them dudes ain't super free, cause
Right.
they can say something about the wrong group, and then you lose your funding, you lose all of that stuff. You know what I'm saying? 'Cause
Let me ask something. Do you think that when you put a tattoo on your face, you no longer care about perception?
I do.
Nope.
I do.
Nope.
I do.
Nope.
I have friends and I've known people all throughout my life, great people, really great people that decided to put tattoos on their face. That I always felt to myself, man, they truly got to that point where they don't care
Or they just
about
young
perception.
and
They just
stupid.
decided to be free and be themselves, and that's their true self. And they don't care about what you think or what corporate America thinks or Facebook thinks. They don't give a shit.
Then they don't care about perception. They don't care about
some of
any of
that
that
is
shit.
ignorance, though. Being a person that's completely, like, very heavily tattooed, I don't ever want shit on my face. But I'm saying that as somebody that's 36. I think that perhaps if I was 19, motherfuckers that are young and ignorant and do not have as much life experience or do not have as much to lose, I think it's much easier to decide to do shit like that. I don't ever want shit on my face. It's never that fucking serious for me. And I actually was a geometry teacher. Before I stopped working full-time for myself, before I started working full-time for myself, I was a geometry teacher. And I got a lot of lashback from. I had been teaching math at this school for 2 years, and the last day of school, the motherfucker next to me, who was a white male, gonna come up to me and ask me, "Did I have a guest pass?" Bitch, do you want me to choke slam your bitch ass? I've been teaching math in the classroom next to you for 2 fucking years.
Wow.
But because of I feel like being a younger teacher or somebody with tattoos or whatever, and I probably wasn't even no younger than he was, but it's just the way that they perceive you, like, oh, she's not qualified to do this, she not shit to, like, it's very interesting. But as somebody that's very heavily tattooed, I think that getting shit on your face is dumb as fuck. As much as I love my mama, your mama never wants you to get some dumb shit like that. I don't think anyone's mom.
These got something you want to say
get
about that.
rest in peace, mama, on your forehead, because that would make me miss you from the ground. Fuck out of here.
I got a question. Chris, right? Your name is Chris, right?
Mm-hmm.
Chris, when you started teaching, did they make you sign? I'm a former teacher myself. Did they make you sign a respectability clause?
Sweetheart, I haven't taught in probably like 8 years, so I'm honestly not positive. Perhaps, perhaps. I was teaching at I taught at Glenbar East and at Proviso West.
Okay.
So I'm not
When
sure
I-
where
when
were
I-
you, where were you teaching at?
I taught at Perspective Charter School.
Okay.
Like, and when
Where's that at?
I started doing an after school program there,
Me
and so
too. Me too.
I was already rapping and all of that stuff, and the principal, they just offered me a job as a part-time theater teacher, and when I took the job, the teacher was like, the principal at the time, shout out to Miss White, she was like, D Nick, I've listened to your music. You're a great teacher, but you say some things in your songs that, like, I can't have no parents, like, da 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 da. So I'm telling you now, if one, I'm going to look the other way because I really want you on this staff. But if one parent has a complaint, you're fired. And it's like,
That's
okay.
interesting. They
And I,
made me sign something to where I would put makeup on my hands to cover my hand tattoos. I had to cover my
so
hand
you probably,
tattoos.
you probably did have to sign off on that,
And
like
like the
sign
one
up
on my
for
neck, they made me
respectability.
put makeup on my neck tattoo as well. Those couldn't be exposed.
every day for school.
Yeah.
Wow.
And shout out E. Johnson,
And I was
man.
teaching big kids. They was in high school.
I remember my
Same.
guy.
Perspectives is the high school. I mean, it's a middle school and high school, but like Anthony Davis went to Perspective the year I was the school a theater teacher. Yeah.
Hey, my guy was working at AutoZone. I know this is like a swerve from like teaching, but he was working at AutoZone and they made him cut his hair. He's a Puerto Rican guy.
For AutoZone.
He's a Puerto Rican dude, and his hair was like down like to
You
his
can just
waist.
put it in a ponytail.
And they ended up telling him that they weren't going to be able to promote him unless he got more presentable for work. And he ended up cutting the.
Well, that's the company's
He
agenda.
cut it as short as mine. Like he cut it all the way off. And I was there when he cut it, and I'm just remembering like, Jesus, he cut his hair. He grew it for so long and just cut it off because AutoZone said you don't look presentable, and it was like. Where they were clearly thinking about I don't know why the fuck it matters, but
Because they think
perception,
it's unprofessional.
perception that it was unprofessional.
I mean, I think we live right now in such a for lack of better words, a society of fucking pussies right now. If you ask me, and I said it because everybody is worried about perception. They're worried about what people will think. They're worried about gender and there's so much shit, and everybody's quick to get their feelings hurt. There's no more first place. It's everybody fucking wins. It's all of this. It's just insane to me. Maybe that's the generation that I'm from.
It's part of perception. It's part of perception.
But I mean, but it's just crazy to me because you there with that. There's people being a certain way outside when it's not really how they think, feel, or live, just because they're afraid of saying or afraid of things happening or people saying things or thinking of them a certain way. I was in the car and I was with my daughter and her friend, and I said dyke, and they both go, excuse me, and I'm like, what? Y'all never you never heard the term before? And they were like, well, that's kind of inappropriate, don't you think? I mean, and I said, well. Okay, so then I changed it up and I said, well, I'm talking about a body of water to to irrigate fucking fields, whatever. I was just like, whatever. And I was like, so after I talked to my daughter and I'm like, so how is me saying dyke inappropriate? Well, you could have said lesbian or you could have said this. I'm like, but I mean, what the fuck? I'm going to change up how.
That's nothing. They let them motherfuckers in the bathroom with me, and I'm over it. I ain't talking about dykes. I'm sorry. I'm not.
I mean, this is not
I don't
okay.
wanna offend your
Okay, let's be
viewers,
clear.
but
This
that trans
I'm just
shit
giving an
is-
example
speak
of
your
something.
truth, though.
It
You're
get
not
on my
offending
fucking
nobody.
nerve.
If that's how
That
you feel,
trans
talk about
shit,
it.
not lesbian shit, but trans shit is a whole nother level. I think it's so much shit that just that fucks with. First of all, I think it's a problem that I have to say I'm a biological woman. What the fuck? There is only one type of woman you can be, and it's a fucking biological woman. It's shit that pisses me off that you allow somebody with the testosterone and the strength of a fucking man to come in my bathroom with me. Like shit, like I didn't sign off on that type of bullshit. Like it's crazy to me. That's a part of perception. I think these motherfuckers, I know people 6'5" with beards, and because they put on eyeshadow, I should perceive them as being a
I will
fucking
argue
woman.
that that's not perception.
Fuck out of here.
He
I
said he will
don't-
That's not
argue that that's not
perception.
perception.
well, I think that in their minds they feel like the way that they perceive themselves is what other people should see, regardless of if that is
They
is
they
factual or not.
they fought whether you agree or disagree.
Fight
They
these
fought
nuts.
for
For
they
what?
had they no they've had I'm giving the skimmy like from what he'd say, like, you know, calling someone, if they're not comfortable calling someone you
We're
know
not gonna
a
compare that to
dyke.
nigga because it's not.
No, he
That's
said
not.
dyke.
No, I
No,
thought he
I'm
was
not.
gonna try to compare that to nigga. I
No.
thought that's where we were going.
No, I'm not. No, I'm not comparing
Okay.
that. I'm talking. I'm talking about. I'm contextualizing it in the sense of they
Oh,
fought
hey,
having people
Johnson.
in policies and have changed policies, and so that's the rules in that policy. The house rules have changed. So when you're in that house, in those spaces, that's the rule. It ain't what you deserve, ain't what you worth, ain't what you're owed, is what you negotiate.
Yeah.
All I'm saying is keep them niggas out my bathroom.
It ain't what you deserve,
My
ain't
point
what
is
you
keep them
want, ain't
niggas
what
out
you
my
worth, is what
bathroom.
you negotiate.
Say
I
that
think
one
that's
more time, bro.
wild.
It's not what you want, it's not what you're owed, it's not what you're worth, it's not what you deserve, it's what you negotiate.
Facts.
And what I'm saying is, I think it's bullshit that trans people get rights before women even got rights. Like I think it's crazy. Like
Well, that's a whole
biological.
nother road.
It is.
You know what I'm saying?
I'm just really not with that
E.
shit.
Johnson says, I don't
It's
give a
not my
damn about
thing.
my language. I would call a rotten
It's
broad
not
or
my
rotten
thing.
broad. All right.
I don't know who's the
Yeah,
rotten.
she-
No,
Who's the
it's,
rotten
she's
broad?
we all
it's
know a
your
couple
it's
Ryan Broads.
it's your prerogative, but you got to eat the cost of that. And if you didn't negotiate any of that stuff, you know, then you know what I'm saying? If you can't negotiate or fight for it or whatever, and eat the cost of that, you know, if is it worth, like for Heat, using your example with your daughter, is it worth her walking out of your life to, you know, in risk of, I don't want to ever be offended by that anymore, Dad, so I'm not going to be around you as long as you use that language around me. She's willing to, if she's willing, it's hypothetical, if she's willing to go hard, you know what I'm saying, you'll adjust, because like, man, that shit ain't worth me losing my
Right.
daughter. I'll watch my mouth for my daughter to stay in my life.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
But
So
but on that note,
stuff
though,
has to be fought. You know,
Right.
if it's a thing of like, if it's thing of like, baby, I don't mean nothing by this. I'm sorry.
Absolutely.
And you negotiate where she's like, look, my dad gonna say this offensive ass shit to me, but that's my dad. I love him. Fuck it. You
well,
know what I'm saying?
actually, we did have a conversation about that. That was pretty much like that. And I was gonna say that also too. You know, she's grown up with me, and so she's heard me say things constantly. You know, anybody that's been around me knows that this is how I speak. I speak like this if I'm in public, if I'm whatever. Well, I mean, obviously not like a job interview or some shit like that, but you know, just in general, this is how I speak. This is how who I am, and I don't bend on that for anybody. You know what I mean? Outside of like, you know, getting gainful employment or something like that, or understanding my position when I'm gainfully employed or around that type of situation.
Yeah.
But other than that, no. But even still, I mean, my language, my verbiage may change, but everything else remains the same.
Can we talk about this show? This show's always been about solutions. Like we talk about like topics, and then we talk about all the bad stuff that it involves, and then we talk about some solutions. How do you, and whoever wants to answer this can answer this, how do you know if you're fucking annoying? How do you know if you're coming off the wrong way? How do you know know?
That sounds funny, but some people don't know.
Because we're talking about perception.
Yeah, some people don't know.
And sometimes it's good, and sometimes you're really acting like a jag.
I don't know.
And-
Sometimes I intend to annoy people, so it's different. If I
Right.
get into a room and I know people don't like me, I will intentionally fuck with them because I know you don't like me. Their perception of me is already warped, so I don't care at
But
this
why not
point.
change their perception of you?
Because first of all, I've realized that that's something that you're not always capable of. Sometimes people then come to a conclusion of you, and they might have seen you at your fucking lowest. It don't matter where you grow, who the fuck you become.
Yeah.
If that's what the fuck they done set their mind to, that's who the fuck you always gonna be. The same way motherfuckers, oh that bitch a crackhead. Bitch ain't had crack in 20 years. They still calling the bitch a crackhead because that's who the fuck. That's what they have put in their mind. It ain't my responsibility to change how you feel about me.
Isn't it though?
No, it ain't. Not if it's not going to benefit me by you liking me. What the fuck am I gonna gain from that? This is not school. I don't care about the only popularity I care about is with my brand as far as making money. Otherwise, I give no fuck how you see me. It doesn't, especially because half the motherfuckers that see you crazy, they do not fucking value themselves.
But
I
even
don't
even if
value
you give a fuck
motherfucker's-
about your brand, you are your own brand ambassador, aren't you?
Indeed, but I'm still a human being, dear. I'm still a human being. I'm not a fucking robot. And there's times where I don't necessarily think that I've acted. I don't want to say in an immature manner, but where I've been fucking human. You don't get to just keep offending somebody or doing whatever the fuck you're doing, and I'm supposed to be this greeter at Walmart and just keep smiling at you. That's not how the fuck this works in real life. It's just not. I mean, it would be great if it did. I don't know what type of level of maturity it takes for you to allow people to continually emotionally abuse you or however the fuck what they're doing for
Well,
you to
people
just
will only
being
do to you what
okay
you
with
allow
that.
them to
And
do.
what I'm saying is that's why the shit is not gonna happen. That's why I'm saying certain crowds that I get around these people. If I already know these motherfuckers don't fuck with me, it's fun to me. It's a party. I'm finna just do whatever the fuck I want to do. If that makes any sense. I've been at events where I know it's people that don't like me. I had a man who I asked if I could set up and sell my merchandise in his club. The man told me no. So what I did was I just set up outside his club on the sidewalk. Nigga, fuck you. This is public property. The man called the police on me. The police came, bought T-shirts, bitched about being called by me, took selfies and left. What I'm telling you is shit like that. This man hate me. So every time I see him, I'm like, hey, how you doing? I got new merch in. I love if you check me out. I know he hate me. I don't give a fuck. I'm gonna annoy the shit out your ass. I don't care. So I'm saying like it just I know everybody is different, but I
Right.
don't care. Once you don't like me, and I've only been positive to you, I haven't hurt you or did anything malicious or anything like that, then it's whatever. I feel like a lot of times niggas getting money ain't worried about niggas getting money. I feel like motherfuckers, when they want to stop you from doing something, it's something that's not going to hurt you or take anything from you for me to try to promote my business. Somehow you see me as some type of threat. It's some type of insecurity shit lurking. And that ain't got shit to do with me. That's not about who I am. That's how you see yourself. So yeah, pretty much.
What was the question again, Gizzo? I'm sorry. I'm trying to remember track of the question.
I mean, you ain't got nothing to say about all of that.
No, I mean that's her prerogative. She's
Right.
got a right to say that. I ain't finna.
But
No,
but the question was, D-Nick, is how do you draw the line and say to yourself, well, okay, the way that I'm acting is fucked up and I am creating a bad perception of myself. And I spoke to somebody a few days ago that knew somebody like that was out there kind of acting just a fool pretty much, and ended up having a heart-to-heart with them, and that person had never had a heart-to-heart with anyone else. So no one else had ever told him, hey dude, you're tripping. You know what I mean? Whatever, however their conversation went, but it was like, you're tripping. You need to start fucking being more like this and more like that. And dude was like, man, no one ever told me that. You're right, and the conversation went like that. And so how do you figure out if it's you? You know what I mean? If are you lucky enough to have somebody like that person that told him, hey, you're tripping, dog. Like you're acting a little bit out of line, out of pocket.
Yeah. I lead with compassion and context, man. So sometimes I'll read the room and it's like, all right, if it's not my room, I can't dictate. I don't put my expectations on nobody. That's not fair to them and that's not fair to me. And if my if my tone, my cadence, if it hinders me to speak a certain way, like I got two options. I can like lead a room, or I can stay in the room and submit. And depending on what's in the room, and like it is what it is. I'm not finna like I ain't finna talk to the kids that I counsel like you fucking tripping. You know what I'm saying? Like that's
Right.
stupid. Like I lose my job. That steak ain't worth the sizzle. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Right.
Like so, nah, I'm not finna let none of
Some
these
people do need
kids
to be told
walk
that
over
way.
me.
Some people do
I'm
need
not
to be
finna
told that way, though. You agree that some people do need to be told that way?
absolutely not. I don't agree.
No.
No, I don't
I
agree.
don't think they
He do
do.
you
Right.
what do you agree that sometimes people need to be fucking told a certain way?
Um, a certain way?
Nah,
Like,
No,
no.
no, 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 no. Like with tough love, like you need to be told sometimes. Like, dude,
I'm a
you're
firm.
slipping, you're drunk everywhere, you're acting like an asshole. Like, let's keep it real. You're acting like an asshole out here in the streets. We seen you at shows. You are tripping, dog. Like, you need to get your shit together. That's what I'm talking about. Let's just
Yeah.
keep it
No.
real.
No.
Yeah,
No. Yeah. Yeah.
I
I
know what
believe
you're
that
talking
100%.
about.
You gotta tell motherfuckers
No.
sometimes, dude, you are
Yeah,
tripping.
sometimes
We had a homie
definitely.
on the show
No.
that was like that, and he ended up saying that he stopped drinking, but he admitted on the show 100% that he was that motherfucker that would show up, and everybody would be like, "Oh man, here comes this motherfucker. Here comes
Right.
his ass again."
Absolutely, absolutely.
He
It totally
knew.
works.
He
Gives
knew.
up, man. I ain't. That totally works for some, but that's not on me to do that to you. You know what I'm saying? If
Who's
like,
it on? Who's it on?
God bless whoever wants to lead with tough love.
Who's it
That's
on?
too much, huh?
Who is it on? If it's
It's
not on your homies,
Well,
who is
no,
it
no,
on?
it's not on. It's not on anybody. But I was gonna say, I feel like if a motherfucker asks me or asks for my help, I'm gonna lead with it. I'm gonna lead with, well, okay, well, from what I see,
if you choose,
yeah, if you
to,
choose,
yes,
yeah,
if you choose
from
to.
what I
I
see,
don't, I don't want to expend that type of energy. You know what I'm
right,
saying? I'm not gonna expend that type of energy. Cause I'm as a motherfucker that work as a counselor, man, I'm real sensitive to energy transference. I ain't
right,
trying to I'm not trying to take that shit home with me. I'm not trying to and then you go and then we just combating. Nah, I ain't doing that. I'm not into that. I'm not into like none of those type of things. I'm gonna just give it to you direct. And if you listen,
yeah,
you do or you don't. Like
Not having
I don't do none of that like wild shit like with that. Like I'm not finna lead with tough love. That's just too much energy. Like I don't like that doing that stuff. I don't fucking label like shit goofy shit. Like I don't do shit like, oh yeah, I'm an alpha and so oh my god, I ain't no
no,
fucking
no,
wolf.
no,
I'm a man. I ain't no
No,
goddamn
but
wolf.
some
I ain't
people
no
need to be
alpha. I ain't
talked
no
to
beta.
different
What kind of
ways.
that
horse
shit
shit
Some
is
is
yeah,
that?
that
some
I'm,
people
I'm
do
a
need to be
right,
fucking
talked,
human being
especially
that's
because
just gonna give it to you straight, and you
right.
can listen or
sometimes
not
that
Not
listen.
listen, right.
calm shit doesn't get through to
Well,
everybody.
that's one of the things that I
I
say
didn't
on the
say
show a
calm.
lot.
I didn't say calm. I said firm. I'm
Right,
going
But I'm
direct.
saying, I'm
right,
just saying that I think that different people, I think that they, the same way delivery is different, the same way people absorb shit you say different. Sometimes you need that delivery depending on who you're talking to. I'm not talking about necessarily the kids and shit that you're working with, but I'm talking
Yeah, yeah.
about like grown ass niggas. I think sometimes
I really ain't got
delivery.
time for that. I ain't got time
Okay.
for no dude or no chick. Like, you know what I'm saying? I'm
Okay.
gonna give it to you straight. You know
what
what I'm
if it's your
saying?
what if it's one of your homies? Well, that's what I'm saying. What if it's one of your brothers? Like
Uh-huh.
this wilding out. Like is it that's not the same as one of these random dudes. Like
Right, right, right.
you're gonna step in if it's Melvin. Sorry to just say that if it's Melvin wilding out for some reason, which I know he would never, but you would have to step in as a brother and tell him, B, you are tripping. Like you're tripping.
And our dynamic, yeah, I'll do it. But I'm not yelling at Mel like that. Like I'm talking direct and firmly. Same way he would do to me and has done to me and I've done to him. Same
right,
thing we would do. Like we don't do that. We
right.
do not
And
do
I
that.
think I think
Like,
I think there's a misunderstanding here as far as like I'm concerned. I don't yell at people and do that kind of shit.
I do.
I speak very firmly, and I say if a person asks me a question, and I give them what I feel, and I give it if good, bad, or indifferent, you're going to get it. Like if you ask me a question and I feel a certain way about it, I'm going to give it to you direct. You know, I've had someone ask me just recently something, and I gave them the answer that I felt. They didn't like the answer, and then I responded by, well, maybe you're just not paying attention, because if you did pay attention, you would see what I see. You know what I mean? But I think that was their perception of how they see themselves and how I saw them. But not just myself, but just other people in the room that I noticed with this particular person. But when he asked for this, that's what I gave him. And to piggyback off of what you said, Chris, oh shit, I just lost my train of thought. But no, I got it. I've said this on the show many times. You know what I mean? People hear things differently. Some people need a billboard. Other people need to be whispered to. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Some people need a firm ass fucking saying that says, "Stop fucking being stupid." Some people might need
y'all
to hear.
Absolutely right.
Isn't that an integral part? Isn't that an integral part of the check-in? Is you say it at the beginning. If you got a tank full of sugar,
Cotton candy ears,
and all that shit, because we say we're gonna give you the answers and we're gonna give it to you in the raw. Your perception might be one thing. We're telling you what it is. Right. We're gonna talk to you. It's gonna be a couple of us, and we're gonna tell you like that you're fucking up. So I think the show even has to, just in general, daily has to do about perception.
You're not wrong. But that's also a challenge. That'll be a challenge to all of us, because right and wrong is easy as shit. If you wrong and I'm right, the problem usually comes when two sides are right. How do you deal with that? That's the thing that'll test your ass. If two sides are right and they're at opposing sides, you know what I'm saying?
Then you have to kick in all the skills that you've been talking about, talking firmly, being assertive, and whatever. I'm sure you have a whole list of other things that you do when someone's acting that way, because dealing with the youth that you're dealing with, I'm sure you get that regularly. You're telling them, they're like, nah, D, it's like this. And you're like, nah, it's like this.
And their perception could be their reality. So they could be right in that thought.
I always redirect it back to them. Like that's like one of the first thing, number one thing in counseling and all of that is just, your accountability. You know what I'm saying? And so it's just like, okay, you cussed out this teacher. It's like, what? No, man, cause she was da 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 da. All right, you think that was the right move? You know what I'm saying? You ain't finna wiggle with me. Like you did that. But she did, that was probably foul what that teacher did to you. But you did that. Right. No, but she should've, but you did that. But that don't give her the right. But you did that. Yeah, I did that. All right, then you gotta eat that. Right. Let's work on how you deal with that. I ain't wiggling. You know what I'm saying? I'm talking to homies. Whether it's a homegirl or a homeboy, it's like, no, that motherfucker. But you did this, right? No, but you did this though. I don't give a fuck what he did to you yet. We talking about you.
You right now. Yeah. We'll get on him in a minute.
She did to you yet. What did you do? You know what I'm saying? And perception is a part of that.
Right.
It comes.
Do you think how you perceive yourself, a person, how they perceive themselves, should be held accountable for how you perceive yourself?
How they perceive themselves.
How I perceive myself. Should I be held accountable for how I perceive myself? Maybe that sounds wrong.
I think I think you should, and I think it goes back to what D Nick has said about, and I love that we're just gonna take it back here, but when we talked about love and loving or trusting people, and or we talked about falling in love, and D, you spoke about location, proximity, religion, and things like that. I looked up what affects
value, proximity. And addiction.
And addiction. So let me get this.
Values, morals, proximity, and addiction. Sorry. Values, morals, proximity, and addiction.
And addiction. Let me get this off. What affects your perception of yourself? I looked it up. And I got So it says socializing forces like family, culture, and media affect our self-perception because they give us feedback on who we are. This feedback can be evaluated positively or negatively and can lead to positive or negative patterns that influence our self-perception and our communication. So sometimes even our perception is affected by outside sources. And we're having to deal with that.
Yeah.
We've talked about that on the
Absolutely.
show, social media and what we see on social media.
Absolutely.
We related it to relationships, to what people see on social media, and how our girl's not getting what she sees on Instagram. So she thinks we ain't doing it because we don't have this, like perception, man. But I think it all falls into like how we said about love, which location, proximity, beliefs, and
Well, location and proximity is like the same. Is values, morals, proximity, and addictions.
my bad. I couldn't remember all of it right now.
It's
But
all
yeah,
good.
man,
It's
I
all
was
good.
saying in relation to that, it's like the same thing with that. Like, our beliefs is based on like the shit that we're around, like what we're around. If you're around someone that's constantly positively enforcing you and telling you that you're a good person, you'll feed off that. But if the teacher's telling you all through grade school that you ain't never gonna be shit, like that affects your perception, right? Biggie raps about that, like fuck everybody that said I was never gonna be shit. I was just trying to feed my family, like.
Yeah, but he was selling crack, so you was clearly the villain in that story, Biggie.
Yeah, man. Word Up Magazine, Salt and Pepper, and Heavy D up in the limousines.
I
He
mean,
wanted that.
I'm sorry, Gizzo. I'm sorry. I know that was a good example. I'm just laughing because every time I hear that, it's like you calling the police on me because I was trying. You were selling crack in front of their house, motherfucker. You're clearly the villain in that situation.
Hey, but that's perception. Us going to a 9 to
That's the
5.
law.
Us
That's the
going to
law.
a 9 to 5 is, I guess, we're still killing the community. But us going to a 9 to 5 is perceived as the way community and the way people should be. And sometimes people are doing a little bit different shit to make money. I don't know. Perception, like, it's perception.
Yeah.
What do you believe in? What are your morals?
Yeah.
9 to 5. 1 to 3 a.m. I don't know. Whatever. Like.
Right.
Are you accountable for that? Again, are you accountable for how
Are
you
you
perceive
accountable?
yourself?
Because a lot of people say, hey, man, it was what I was raised in. This is what I know. This is all I know.
Okay.
This is all I know. Is
I beg to differ. I hate when people say this is all I know because I beg to differ. People know different. They know better. Everybody was born with the understanding of right and wrong.
I knew a chick who was hooked on heroin, and her 2 daughters ended up becoming real smart women and going on to college and following careers. They didn't follow in her mom's fucking footsteps.
Because
They
that's
just,
not all they knew.
Yeah,
I-
but I think everybody is different. It takes different types of strength to get out of certain situations. I don't think people are necessarily weak because they don't get out of them. But I don't know. I think it's just
It's a lot of factors.
I don't know. I think it's just different. I was raised a certain type of way, and I remember being pissed off because my dad would be late for my basketball games. And I'd be pissed. I'm just riding the bench anyway, but nigga, you still should have been on motherfucking time, okay? So, yeah, I used to be pissed the fuck off. Like, I ain't talking to you on the way home, nigga, you was late. But I'm playing against kids sometimes. We playing other schools. This motherfucker ain't never met they father before.
yeah, and that
You
was
know,
your
it's
perception.
all types of shit. And I didn't realize that until I became an adult and realized that it's people coming from somewhere totally different. Teaching geometry. I would have to bring food every day because it's kids in the class that only eat while they're at school. Who the fuck is trying to learn anything about fucking math and they hungry? So it's all types of shit that I never endured. I don't know who the fuck I would have grew up and become in the event that was my reality. We was poor, but nigga, we ain't no food poor ever.
Right.
I wasn't wearing my sister clothes poor. It wasn't that type of situation. So I don't know who the fuck I would have been or what type of strength or how outgoing I may have been or not been had I come from just a more and more desperate fucking situation. So I don't know.
Man, the kids I counsel, the motherfuckers on house arrest is the best, most well-behaved motherfuckers in that I have all my groups. They just so mad respectful, and it's just like, God damn.
I didn't
You know what I'm
have that.
saying?
I stopped teaching. I had kids slapping my ass when I would wipe the board.
What the fuck?
I would wipe the board and niggas would slap my ass while I'm wiping it. Before I could turn around, the motherfucker done sat down. like all types of crazy shit. So no, I'm not.
I'm done. I'm not a teacher. I'm
It
a
was
counselor.
funny.
I'm their counselor. And I do group
Being a
counseling in
teacher
the
is
school.
being a counselor too. It's all that shit is
So
together.
they come with all they kind of crazy, not crazy, but they situational problems. You know what I'm saying? That you know,
Talk. I can put the phone up to the speaker if you want.
so
Man, perception.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think that that part of perception, like a piece of it, is being able to accept constructive criticism. Because if you're the dude that's confronting somebody that's been acting wild and out, it's being able to listen and shit and accept that sometimes you're doing wrong. Because I mean, what the fuck? Are you just doing right all the time? Like sometimes you're tripping, dog, and like you have to realize that and have somebody tell you that you are tripping. Because nobody's perfect. We all have our vices. We all have our
but what
things that-
leverage do you got? What leverage do you got?
the leverage of being the leverage of becoming a better person. That's the leverage that you got. If you're the person that's failing in a situation, the leverage that you got is saying that you can turn a new stone, open a new door.
That's I don't think that's not leverage though, Gizzo.
What is it?
No, like there's some people like the leverage would be like, yo, I value this friendship, and if I keep acting an ass, I'm gonna lose this friendship, or this relationship, or this job, or this position, and all of that. Like it sucks, man. But a lot of times people don't listen to you without leverage.
You have
Right.
the leverage that you have if you're the person or family member that's dealing with this person is telling them, and we've seen this in shows like Intervention, and which is just a TV show, but we've seen it in situations like that where, because most of the time the family members are the ones that are enabling this person to keep fucking being however they're being, so eventually you cut that off and you say, dude,
So that's the
you
leverage.
are tripping. I can no longer associate with you. And I've told a story about this, that when I was
Yeah.
gangbanging, I had one of my homegirls that was one of my ride or dies, man, and we were always together. And after a couple years, she wasn't around no more, and I saw her at the store while I was still in the streets, and she walked right past me and just said, "What's up?" and kept it moving. And years later, when we became best friends again, I asked her, "Why did you do that?" And she was like, "Because my life was in a different place, and I could no longer associate with people who were part of the street." That was her perception. She saw me as a person still on the street and had to stay away from me for her own sanity, for her own livelihood.
Yeah.
And that was dope. That's dope,
dope as
man.
When we talk about leverage real quick, and I could be wrong on how I'm going to word this, but I'm gonna shoot it anyways. So I know someone who their perception of themselves and how they really are, and I'm talking about in real life and in real shit, and no matter how you say it to them, they were like, no, that's not how it is. And so what I would, in speaking to that person, I would use their own shit as leverage. Like, if that's really how you see it, then please explain to me why this and this and this is happening to you. If this is how you see it, then explain to me. Help me understand, because that's not what I see.
Right.
Especially if the person is asking me for help or to, as you say, lend them some grace. I need you to be accountable though first. Like for instance, to one of the stories. It's not a story, but something that happened to him. I'm not going to say his name, but he had a housing counselor was supposed to help him find get his Section 8 and shit ready and all this other shit. The guy tells him to meet him at his office. I guess he didn't really give him a time or whatever. So the guy ends up going to a 7-Eleven and sees the guy outside talking to some girls. He gets pissed. This ain't right to him. Why is this guy not at his office? You know what I mean? So, but anyways, he takes it upon himself to interact with this dude at the 7-Eleven about his job, about his house, about this shit, and he didn't see anything wrong with that. And I said, I said, hold on, where did the guy tell you to meet him? Well, at his office. I said, why are you confronting this man outside at a 7-Eleven? This is not his work area. Why should he give a fuck about you outside his job? Well, he told me that. Yeah, no, he told you to meet him at his office. You're confronting
Facts.
this man at a 7-Eleven. How is he supposed to react to you when you're being aggressive and shit? Because he said, "Oh, he slapped the honey bun out my hand." Well, you're lucky. That's all he did. I mean, you're confronting this man at a 7-Eleven. You're being aggressive and you're upset because where you should have been is waiting at the office like he asked you to and waiting for him to show up. Well, on his off time is his off time. It's like, I can't walk up to D-Nick at a fucking concert and start telling him my fucking problems.
You can outside of sub T.
Nah, he ain't going for that shit. I'm not gonna.
You'd be surprised.
Hey,
This show,
hey, D,
a lot of people like,
might
"Oh, I
be
saw
me
you on
when-
the unwrap." Hey, and I'm like, "God damn it!"
Oh man.
Hey, D, hey, D,
Damn, my bad.
It might be me one of these Tuesdays, so I can't even front, dog.
Shit, it's
all good,
it's
man.
you
I
and
be
me
allergic
every
to
week,
rappers.
every
That's why
week.
Gizzo ain't never had me on Shot City Cypher.
Hey D, I know you. Hey, I'm gonna start off my conversation with, "Hey D, I know you hate this, but
Yeah.
No, I don't hate it.
I know you're
It's
not
all
at work,
good.
but
I know you ain't at work right now, but
yeah.
today
It's
was
all
fun."
good, man.
No, but I think that
This
sometimes
is part of your rating, okay?
I think that sometimes you have to use if that's the right thing to use somebody's their own shit, their own leverage, or I guess it's just deflecting and redirecting it back upon them.
I think we do that all the time, bro. When we're talking, like I was talking with Heat today on the way to Chicago, and we were just we were talking about a bunch of things, and I was just, it was just shit. I think we do that to kind of put out our perception, like to talk to somebody else to see if like what we're thinking is
it the right way
is
to
the
think?
right way. Like, and I talk to him a lot like that. Hey,
Well, maybe that means because you value my perception or you value my.
I do. Yeah, that's real shit. Hey, that's a good way to look at it. Yeah, I value your perception of things. I look at how you conduct
I
yourself
appreciate
and go,
that.
all right, this is a dude that I know his perception's cool and I can talk to him. Clearly, if I'm talking to you and you're talking about spaceships and zebras and shit, like I'm not gonna come to you and talk to you about like some real shit. But yeah, I come to Heat and I talk to him and we talk about shit about Shot City Cypher and whatever it is, and he'll give me his feedback. Yeah, that's fucked up, or no, you're wrong. But I think you have to have that balance and be able to accept that. If you're fucking wrong, you're talking to one of your homies, they tell you you're tripping, you're probably tripping, man. Like, be open to the suggestions and to the dialogue to see if you're tripping.
Right.
I gotta get
appreciate
ready
what
to
you're saying,
shake,
though.
gentlemen. I'm so sorry. So
No,
sorry.
you're
I gotta
good,
get
you're
ready
good.
to shake. I just wanted to say, like, yeah, I never, like, even in this, my counseling sessions, I never lead anybody to, like, I never tell anybody the answer because I can't fix nobody's problems. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? We just go around and I give them tools and all of that type of stuff so
Right.
that they can figure it out themselves and atone what's best for them, and
Right.
just give them the tools to process what's best for their life.
Right.
But I can't give nobody the answer.
The
And if
answer,
you
right.
ever get a counselor that's trying to get you, or even a therapist that's giving you what you should do in the answers, they're probably a quack. You know what
Right.
I'm saying?
Big
Like,
facts.
all right, man. Chris, nice to meet you. Blessings.
meet you
Peace,
too.
Gizzo. Peace, Heat.
Peace,
You
bro.
already
Bless
know, bro.
y'all.
We love you over here, bro.
Peace.
But to piggyback off of what he said, I don't try to, like, even when we talk, I don't try to give you the answer. I give you what my perception is and what I see, what I think. You know what I'm saying? And I do that with everybody that I encounter, especially if you ask me. And this goes back to what I was saying earlier. You may not like the answer that I'm going to give you, but it's gonna be from what I see, and from the truest way I can see it, or the truest way that I do see it. And some people may call it not sugarcoating shit or whatever in the fuck, but I just see when I speak to somebody or talk to somebody like the guy about the honey bun and the 7-Eleven shit. I tell him, man, I ain't got the fucking answers for you, bro. You know what I'm saying? You got to figure that shit out for yourself. What I can do is tell you what I see and what I hear, because the shit's coming out of your mouth. You know what I'm saying? You don't see anything wrong. It took like 45 minutes to get him to understand that man asked him to meet him at his office, not at 7-Eleven.
That's because right and wrong is perception.
No, there no
No, it is. It
no.
It is.
Inherently,
I'm not saying what it
When
should
I'm in
be. I'm saying
Milwaukee,
what it is.
I'm at the
Right.
red light.
That's
I'm at
not
the
what I'm
red
saying. That's
light.
what it should be.
When I'm
inherently, we
shouldn't
all
be.
know right and wrong, though.
Yes,
Yeah,
but
we
what I'm
should.
saying is, I feel like it's I'm trying to the same way you talking about. It's like a sliding scale for shit. I
Yeah.
feel like that's how people look at right and wrong.
But that's where trouble.
Not-
That's where trouble is.
Not that that's the way. I'm not saying what is ideal. I'm
Right.
saying what I think is the masses how they operate.
Sure.
I think that that there's a sliding scale when it comes to right and wrong. The same shit he was just talking about with Biggie selling crack. To him, he feel like a motherfucker is fucking up with my livelihood, and I'm trying to take care of my family. He doesn't see the wrong in the fact that you getting your own people fucking addicted to fucking crack cocaine.
Right. He
He's
sees the
not
ends to the
looking at-
means.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like I told this. I tell a lot of people. You know what I mean? I think because once you become accountable for your actions and accountable for who you are, you do understand the yes and the no, which is the right and the wrong. The gray, and I call it. You know, you got yes and no. You got what you're gonna do, what you're not gonna do. When you fuck around in that gray area, that's where shit gets murky. And that's where shit gets really fucked up, and that's where the trouble is what I say. You know what I mean? So when I talk to people like the guy that I was talking about earlier, you know, I try to tell him, like, just recently I told him, I said, from this point on, man, you gotta, you know, because I got this thing called backdoor words, and I say this shit to everybody and anybody that'll listen. So anybody that's listening out there, take this in, receive it. Backdoor words, and you can start off with something just as simple as trying or try or maybe, because those backdoor words allow you an out.
What does backdoor mean? Explain that.
It allows you an out. It's a back door. The front door is the front door. The back door is the out. That's the out.
It's not a definite.
Yeah, it's not a definite. You're not speaking in definite. So when you begin to understand and you start to correct yourself, you begin to understand yes and no. You begin to understand accountability, because people will start to treat you different when you start talking different. When you start talking different, you start carrying yourself different. You know what I mean? Because now I'm accountable. If I say to Chris, she says, hey, can you come and help me move tomorrow? And I said, maybe. We'll see. I'll hit you up. That don't mean shit. Now, if her perception of that may be, oh, he's going to help me. But I wake up, I'm supposed to be there at 9 o'clock, and I wake up at 11. I'm like, fuck, I didn't say I was really going to be there. You know what I'm saying? But if I give you a definite yes or no, now you know exactly where I stand. And I don't have to feel any kind of way about it. I don't have to feel guilty about anything, because I just can't help you. Not today, not tomorrow. If you can move, and I would say something like, if you can hold off and wait, if you really need my help, if you could hold off and wait, you know, to the day after tomorrow, I can do that. You know, but I'm not going to say maybe. I'm not going to say I'll try, you know, because now I'm accountable. If I say yes, I'm accountable. You know what I mean? And if I really want to be accountable, then if I say yes, then I have to show up. And if I show up, you're going to treat me different every time. I'm going to be that guy that's dependable. I'm going to be that guy that people look at and say, yeah, you can fuck with that motherfucker. You know what I'm saying? Outside of like, oh, he's a real one type shit. On some real shit, I'm a real one. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? Like, for real. And I think that when a person starts to really begin to correct themselves, that's the hardest part. Correcting yourself and understanding when you say it and how you say it to people. And once you understand that and you start to correct yourself, you'll start to see shit differently, because you'll start to move differently. You'll be more cautious or cognitive of how you speak to people. You'll be more aware of what you say. And that will make you more aware of what you do and how you behave. That also, too, in turn, rubs off on the people that you are fucking with, because now they see there are certain things they can get away with you, and there's certain things that they can't, or the things that they can do and the things that they can't. You're going to show up for your job. You're going to do this. You're going to do that. You're going to see things completely different, and then you're going to see the real tricky shit is how other people are. When you really start hearing it, how many times people say maybe, how many times people say try, or I'm finna, I might, or I mean, there's other words outside of those, but those are like the baseline to start off. You know what I'm saying? But once you become really aware of it, you're like, wow, this motherfucker like will say off the wall ass shit. Like, I can't believe he just said that, right? You know, because there's things that leave you an out. You know, you say, well, I was drunk. Were you? You know what I mean?
I was.
I'm just saying. I'm just saying. If you when you begin to be accountable and you make yourself accountable first and begin to understand those backdoor words, man, it helps immensely in life. Immensely. I can't say how much it's helped me, and I can't even remember who was the person that told me to do that. But I know that once I started doing that shit, it changed everything.
Well, that comes from confidence.
Right.
I think that saying maybe is when shit like that is when you're afraid to tell somebody no or what their response is going to be or whatever.
It's deeper than that.
Be. Also, I think with even talking, like I used to say, I'm trying my best a lot. When people be, oh man, I see you doing your shit. I would even say I'm trying my best because I felt like it was this humble place to come from, and I had to realize how trying is very low vibrational.
Yes.
Completely or hope. That
Yeah,
shit is
hope.
low
I hate
vibrational
that
too.
shit.
All the dream,
Backdoor
all that
words.
bullshit.
You got
is low
manifest
vibrational.
destiny.
It's about what you're doing.
Yeah.
And once you say I'm going to do this or shit like that, it's interesting. The shit that you can manifest. I'm talking about crazy shit. Like,
Yeah.
Just
That's exactly what I'm talking about.
by talking differently.
Yeah.
And
That's
it's
exactly it.
interesting.
That's exactly what I'm talking
Yeah,
about.
it's interesting.
Change your whole shit. Change your behavior.
Definitely.
Change your path. Change your, it's all manifest destiny. I say that shit all the time. I believe it, therefore it exists. You know what I mean? Not like in some UFO type shit, but like in myself. If I'm going to do this, I'm doing it. I'm not going to hope. I'm not going to try. I'm going to do it. You know what I'm saying? And in doing it, I may have to learn a couple harsh lessons, but it's okay because out of those harsh lessons, I'm going to learn something and I'm going to be better at it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it is what it is, but we're going to have to call this one. I really appreciate you being in it. You said some really insightful things. And Jizzo, as always, but before we go, we always do this. Any last words? Any last opinions? Anything about what we talked about tonight? I'm going to start with you, Chris.
I just wanted to say something that I had talked about my friend with earlier, that just how important self-care is. And don't ever think that self-care is being selfish. You have to make sure that you're okay before you can do anything from anybody else. I mean, even like even with coming to your kids, you have to make sure that you're okay before you can give anybody else anything. And I think that's something people really, really need to focus on and understand, that it's not selfish to take care of yourself before you try to give of yourself to anybody else. Make sure that you are good.
And, shout out to that.
Yeah.
That's beautiful. Make sure you're good to yourself. I say that to people all the time. Part of mental health is making sure you're okay first and foremost. But it's also good to have people to lean on and rely on too, and on top of that. But Jizzo.
I think my final thought is there's two ways to it. Rock out with your
cock out, whatever.
Rock out with your cock out.
Thumb out.
Just do your motherfucking thing, man. Sometimes be yourself, but aside from that, man, also be open to listening to if you are doing things that ain't right, and it's some of your people that's telling you, and someone that's close to you that's telling you. Be open to that, man. And sometimes we all need to change. You ain't the same person you were 5 years ago, 10 years ago. You keep on changing. You keep evolving. And hopefully you get to a level that's healthy and that's the best for your lifestyle. Always still be yourself, man. That's my final thing. Be your motherfucking self, but do it healthy. Do it the right way.
Right, man. Shout out to that, Jizzo. Good words. Good words of wisdom.
Thank you.
I'm going to end this shit by saying, I know that we tend to jump all over the place sometimes when we talk. But we end up at the same destination every fucking time. And all of this shit that we talk about is about being self-aware, about being accountable. I think that it's okay to look in the mirror and know that you need work. It's okay. We all need work. There's nobody that should show me the perfect person and I'm going to show you a fucking liar. You know what I'm saying? We all have faults. We all make mistakes. It's about what you do after, It's like when you stumble and fall, it's get the fuck up. Dust yourself off. It's going to be all right. Don't worry about people's perception of you falling. It's about you getting back up. It's about dusting yourself off. And if somebody does have a bad perception of you, maybe you need to change. Maybe you need to look in the mirror. Look in the mirror. What is it that you should change? What are the things that are going to be healthy for you to change? You know, if you give a fuck, you should give a fuck. And with that, we out. Peace. We'll see you next Sunday. We out. Spin the check in.
Peace.